So, good morning. Hello. If I were to say it in Vietnamese, xin chào các bạn. So, my name is Elizabeth, but you can call me Liz. So as Monica said, I'm a multidisciplinary creative. I do find it hard to label my role or whatever I am because I have a passion for film, graphic design, photography, and multimedia, and I just mesh that all together and create projects for my clients and for my church. So I'll just show my show reel just to show it. On the global topic of symmetry, I'm going to be speaking about the pursuit of protopia. So the reason why I'm currently standing here and speaking stems from a small seed. So I had the honour of being chosen as a featured artist for Brisbane Asia Festival, and 8 of my photographic works are displayed in light boxes in King George Square car park, so I'll be showing each one. So these photos were captured when I had the opportunity to travel to my motherland in Vietnam and when I gained a scholarship to travel to Japan. And I captured these photos using my phone with the passion to share stories and visual pieces of the world in Asia onto Instagram. And so 16-year-old Liz never would have thought that these images would lead to opportunities like this. And so throughout my creative journey, this has made me realize the platform that I had, and that one voice is still a voice. So this has now led to our city celebrating various cultures, empowering Brisbane Asian artists such as these 2 wonderful women that are speaking today, and bringing harmony and creating unity. And so reflecting on platform, I'm at a place where I recognize the platform that I have, and I'm always reevaluating my artistic intentions in how I do what I do and why I do what I do. So let's track back to January last month. So I was just on Instagram, going through my stories and watching stories, and I was like, okay, cool, people traveling the world, eating food, and then I see this picture. Like shared once, next photo, shared again and again. And I was like, okay, so why is this picture of an egg being shared? Like, this is so silly. And so I clicked into the picture and I realized what it was. And this egg is not just a random egg, it's #the Instagram egg. So if you don't know or you need context, basically this is a photo of an egg that is the most liked photo on Instagram. I have no idea why, and in that moment I was like, why are people productively, creating memes and like producing all these videos and just putting in so much effort for an egg? And then I was thinking, okay, this is really petty, but I had a revelation and I realized that the power and the influence that people had as a collective, sharing one photos to their circles on social media, led to a movement. And I screenshotted this extremely recently, and I'm sure the numbers of likes are still rising. So in my talk, I wanted to remind you of accountability, to recognize the platform that you have, and to revisit the passion that you hold, and through that, to reclaim purpose in understanding these. So the world of utopia. So utopian fiction depicts a future in which humanity has reached a perfect state of balance and peace, and where all life is valued and maintained. There is no suffering and injustice, no more ignorance and violence, and all beings have reached their full potential. And, if you have utopia, then you have dystopia. So dystopian fiction depicts a future in which humanity has fallen into decline and ruin, and where life and nature has recklessly exploited and destroyed. And I know that this talk just got deep, and it sounds like I'm about to lead into some sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, aliens and zombies type of discussion, but I promise you that it'll have nothing to do with that. Maybe a bit. Okay, I'm just kidding. So back to utopia. So essentially, it's a perfect world. So I believe utopia is impossible to reach in our reality, in which futurist Kevin Kelly created a neologism, protopia. So my talk is about the pursuit of protopia. So protopia is a state that is better today than yesterday, although it might be a little better. So protopia is much, much harder to visualize because protopia contains as many new problems as new benefits. This complex interaction of working and broken is very hard to predict. So in rawest nature, protopia defines a state where we're no longer fighting for survival, which is dystopia, nor we're accepting perfection, which is utopia. But we've become accountable for our need and our desire to perpetually chase the better. So as Kevin Kelly said, with the proponents of technology like artificial intelligence, it can project a protopian future where we can take steps closer to limitless prosperity, to end poverty and hunger, conquer diseases through healing, and restore health with machines, and so much more. And it almost sounds like we can reach immortality, right? Well, these can lead to imbalances because there's a tug of war with the environment, loss of control, chemical imbalances, and so much more. So my favourite university lecturer from Queensland College of Art, Tristan, once shared a quote that I won't ever forget. To acknowledge the ontological nature of design is to understand that the things we design will go on designing even after its end. So this is the complexity of human nature, and it reminds us to revisit the power that we have in the future that we create for now and for our next generation. When I was in high school, I had the privilege of being social justice captain. And before starting any projects, my co-captain and I, we sat down and we wrote a mission statement to always remember and to revisit the root of our why. And so what we came up with was this. So everywhere in the world are ordinary people willing to confront despair, power, and incalculable odds in order to restore some semblance of grace, justice, and beauty in the world. Through the creation of a movement, misconceptions and mindsets of individuals will be challenged. This is who we are, the heart of love, the face of diversity, the advocates for equality. We are game changers. So reflecting on this mission statement written a while ago, I still stand by it and I still live by it. And I understand that not everyone here are activists and work actively in this field, but what I do know is that you have the power to make a difference. So who here loves Marvel movies? Cool. So as I spoke about dystopia, in these kind of movies we have crazy, manipulative, sinister villains, and then they ruin the world, and we also have a superhero who comes and brings a sense of symmetry in the chaos, and once again confronting despair, power, incalculable odds, and restoring a semblance of grace, justice, and beauty in the world. And I know you're not a superhero, but perhaps you're a graphic designer. So let's revisit passion. So say you love visual structure and aesthetics of typography. There's a deeper root to that. You're a designer and you take mess and an overflow of information and you orchestrate it into something beautiful, effective, and meaningful. You're a powerful solution for a need in bringing clarity and structure. Say you're a filmmaker and you love a colourful timeline and telling stories. So the power of your passion has you sequencing a plethora of files, a big mess of footages and sounds, and you're orchestrating a visually pleasing yet messy edit timeline. But through the final project, you're actually impacting emotions, amplifying someone's life, and allowing other humans to be inspired when they watch it. So the symmetry in that is that you create a piece of work that takes steps closer to Protopia, that influences and moves people. But it could be either a positive impact or something controversial. And you're not a superhero, so maybe you're an interior designer. So you love colour palettes, textures, and structure. So the impact of your power is that you bring these elements together to orchestrate not only a space, but an environment where people bask in the present, where infinite memories are being created, where people fall in love and people celebrate milestones. The power that you have from your creative mind, aligning with the skills and the experience that you have, has a greater impact than you think in this present moment. And these things being created goes on designing even after its end. So one of my favourite quotes, and yes, I've shared a handful of quotes, but this has been a quote that's impacted me a lot as a young woman. So Mother Teresa once said, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." And the reason why I repetitively use the word orchestrate is to finish off this morning's talk with an analogy. To orchestrate is to score music or coordinate elements to produce a desired effect, and in this case, a song. So everyone in this room plays an instrument, and we discover our ability to play it, and we find our love in playing it. So what's the bigger picture in playing your part? Is it to entertain, impact, or tell stories? You sound beautiful individually, but you sound harmonious when you play together. Thank you.